Brandon, you and I have two very opposing opinions on this player, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert was traded to the Twin Cities fellas for an absolute haul. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Leandro Bolmero, Walker Kessler, the former 22nd overall pick of the 2022 NBA draft, Jared Vanderbilt, a 2023 first unprotected, a 2025 first unprotected, a 2026 pick swap, 2027 first unprotected, and a 2029 first round pick, top 5 protected.
That's 5 total picks, right?
Technically 6.5 if you're going to include Walker Kessler and Bolmero. And now we didn't know this, but this trade was working in the works for a while. What Minnesota did in the first day of free agency was signing Kyle Anderson from Memphis to a 2-year deal. And you think to yourself, that's interesting because Kyle Anderson, he reminds me of Joe Ingles or Nick Batum. You know, a bigger wing that can play a little point. He can pass it. His shot's a little bit janky because he's got these shoulder issues, but he can pass it and he's big, so he can defend pretty well. Like, Kyle Anderson's weird with Jared Vanderbilt a little bit. You know, Jared Vanderbilt can't really play offensively, lack of spacing there. Then they move their two culture setters that took them to the playoffs last year, and Vanderbilt and Pat Bev, to Utah. And then for Utah, you guys, I'm sure, saw the Brian Windhorst clip. Utah traded Royce O'Neal the first day of free agency to Brooklyn, and basically we knew at that point this team's not going to stay the same. They're going to make moves. Danny Ainge absolutely got 150% value for Rudy Gobert. He is on a $170 million contract, and he was able to parlay that after 2 embarrassing postseason defeats the last 2 years. Three straight. Forget about 2020, then 2021, then 2022. He parlayed that into half a decade worth of draft picks. That is insane to really think about, because to me, the next best offer would have been from Charlotte to get PJ Washington, maybe 2 picks, and James Bouknight. That deal is nothing compared to this. The interesting thing, though, is Minnesota now has a starting lineup of D'Angelo Russell until he's traded, if Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels likely, Karl Anthony Towns at power forward, and Rudy Gobert at center. And what this does is it sandwiches Karl Anthony Towns defensively. You put the best rim protector of the last 15 years, arguably the greatest rim protector the NBA has seen, behind him. And now you give me a funny face. What's wrong with that, dude? Huh? What's crazy about that? Friend.
That was okay. The greatest rim protector.
Name me a better rim protector. Name me one. Come on. And here, give me that face.
I'm not even gonna say that. I'll just say what his new teammate said. Ain't nobody fear Rudy Gobert.
Anthony Edwards speaks from the heart, dude. But I'll be honest with you, he's a year older than me. I don't know if he's exactly the most accurate one on his NBA takes. Even though he does play in the league, I think that's a little bit ludicrous when I watch those two players play.
I think he just spoke from experience. He said, listen, ain't nobody fear. They go straight at Rudy Gobert.
And guess what? A lot of the time they lose that battle badly. Why? Because he has been consistently in the 99th to 100th percentile of defensive player on a trash defensive team that has consistently been top 10 to top 5. Why? Because of one individual. It is because of Rudy Gobert that would clean up their mess, and then the postseason, when he was asked to clean up their mess, then rotate 15 to 20 feet out to a Nick Batum 40% three-point shooter in the corner. An impossible task. He was not able to accomplish that feat because guess what? No player can. Draymond Green can't. Bam Adebayo can't. No one can. So this stupid narrative about Rudy Gobert not being able to defend the perimeter is absolutely ludicrous to me. We're going to talk a little bit deeper about the T-Wolves and what this move makes for their team moving forward. But Brandon, we got to set the record straight on Rudy Gobert, because to me, the disrespect has gone way too far. Everyone says, "Oh, but the perimeter, it gets exposed there," and it's ludicrous because to me, Rudy Gobert's funny looking. He's got a higher center of gravity, so yeah, he can get moved around side to side. He may not be able to stay in front of a guy. But this guy is the longest defender in the NBA. He's one of the best conditioned players at the center position. And even though he just turned 30 years old, he is in really good athletic shape. So you can beat him off the dribble, but what terrifies players often is him chasing them from behind, because he can catch, and in a Giannis-like way, he can catch up and track you from behind and cover ground as well as any player. And basically, to me, what he is a more expensive Robert Williams that is durable and, more notably, a more dominant rim protector. That is what Rudy Gobert is. And for 35 to 42, $43 million a year, yeah, I think that is an overpay to an extent. But with him on your team, you are basically an automatic top 10 defense. And if you put him with a grade A playmaker, this is a guy giving you 17 to 20 points a game with 12 to 14 and a half rebounds. That is irrefutably a top 5 center and one of the 25 best players in the game.
What?
What's crazy?
25 best players in the game.
I'll
And the
give you a
guy
list. I'll
carried
give you a
team
list.
off.
Do you want a list right now?
But I don't think that's that crazy. He's the best defensive big in the game. I mean, it
No.
depends how much you value that.
The
No,
only
he's not.
the only defensive big you could say is better is Draymond and maybe Bam, and that's really it. Giannis so, but Giannis isn't a great perimeter defender. You've seen that as a Heat fan. He's not guarding Jimmy Butler usually. He has more recently. But I
That's not
mean,
what he has to do. When he does a pretty damn good job.
Giannis,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, he's a good perimeter defender. I wouldn't say he's elite. And with Rudy, he's capable.
Better than Rudy Gobert.
He is.
Can you name 25 better players?
Yeah, Brent.
Than Rudy Gobert.
Want me to list you some guys, Brent?
Go ahead. I mean, I don't know if I can name them off the top of my head.
No, I'll list you some guys because I think giving me that reaction is crazy. All right, so John Moran or Rudy Gobert?
John Moran.
Devin Booker. Chris Paul. Donovan Mitchell. Karl Anthony Towns, new teammate.
Cat.
Anthony Davis. That's including the health. We're not doing the stupid if he's healthy BS because guess what? He's never healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyrie Irving. James Harden.
Right now?
Yes.
Right now.
I'll take Harden.
Oh, okay. I would say Rudy's a higher floor raiser. Drew Holiday.
So
Yes, who's better? Go on.
I'll take Drew Holiday.
I don't even think it was right there.
Drew Holiday is one of the players who crumbles in the playoffs offense.
Here's a brief summary of why. Because he can give you excellent elite defense on the perimeter.
On ball.
Okay, that's fine. On ball. And he can also give you 15 to 20 points a night.
But he's maybe the most inconsistent 17 point per game scorer in the postseason. 17 plus points or more.
That's fine. At least he can get his own shot because Rudy Gobert can't.
All right, keep the list on. Let's go.
How many players do we have to, by the way?
Right now we're at 25 because I'm not listening to the top 12.
We got
13.
9.
So basically at this point, we're at 24 actually. Zion Williamson's the next name.
I'll take Zion, dude. Last healthy, he averaged Siakam.
Brandon Ingram. It's a tough one. I like BI. I'm pretty high on him.
I think I'm going to take BI.
Okay, well. BI just got his team to the playoffs for the first time. Rudy Gobert has done that consistently for the last
he was
5
not
years.
the guy. I was Donovan Mitchell. Don't do that.
To be fair, to your credit, when they lost Gordon Hayward and George Hill, their 2 leading scorers, they started the 2018 Donovan's rookie year 22 and 27. And when Donovan broke out, they ended that season, I think it was 29 and 6, and it was one of the greatest single season turnarounds. So you are right about that. It wasn't until Donovan broke out that they became from a lottery to a legitimate team. Same thing with Gordon Hayward. I do agree with you on that. But for Quinn Snyder, he was widely regarded as one of the 7 best coaches in the game. And the funny reason why is they immediately became a playoff caliber team when Rudy Gobert became the starter. It's funny how that works. Immediately. They went from a 20-win team, they traded Dennis Kanter, and next thing you know, they're a 40 to 45 to 51 team. All of a sudden out of nowhere. Why? Because Rudy Gobert is in the middle.
No. Rudy, listen. The guy can't give you anything offensively. He can't get his own shot.
Okay. Yes. How many centers can give you their own shot? Kat, Jokic, Embiid, and can Bam Adebayo give you his own shot? Because he's on the playoffs not very consistently. One game in that Boston series was able to do it consistently through 4 quarters. That was the only time. You look at DeAndre Ayton. Is he giving you his own shot? Is he going to create that? Is he?
Ayton's got a better offensive repertoire than Rudy Gobert.
You're totally right, and I agree. The issue with Rudy Gobert is, for people that don't watch Utah closely, they see the lack of skill in his offensive game. And the funny thing is, he just broke the NBA record in true shooting, and that was without a grade A playmaker. What if you put him next to Luka Doncic, an elite lob passer? If you do that, to me, he's going from 17 points per game on 72% true shooting to 20 a game, and maybe even more, because of how good of a rim runner, a lob threat, and most importantly, an aggressor he is. He makes stops, he's going to make plays in the defensive end, and that turns into offense.
Breaking field goal percentage? You know the number off the top of your
head? True shooting.
Yeah, what was it?
I believe it was 73%. Let me check right now. It was in the 70s. But it broke Mitchell Robinson or Joe Ingles' record. Those two guys are pretty high up there. Yeah, so his true shooting percentage was 73% this last year, which broke the NBA record.
Here's the thing, though, right? You can get – there's players that are just like Rudy Gobert that can give you Rudy Gobert type production.
Well, 15 rebounds a game? How many players are doing that?
I don't think so.
Whiteside did that back when he was in Miami.
Yeah, but Hassan Whiteside defensively is far from the level of Rudy Gobert.
He averaged 3.7.
No, stop. There's this thing called pick and roll defense, and very few defensive bigs do that better than Rudy. Hassan Whiteside can't guard pick and roll. Rudy Gobert took that off of the offensive menu for opposing teams. That is the difference between those two players. And I like Hassan Whiteside. Rudy Gobert is in great shape, and he doesn't care as much about the blocks. He's trying to make stops.
We're talking when he flailed out, yes, the getting in shape was the bad. But when he was on and he was ready to go, he was putting up great numbers with that team, with that Miami Heat team. And again, he can't guard a 1 through 5 Rudy Gobert. All right.
Hold up. How many players can Draymond? Because you're talking about the other day. Jaylen Brown was cooking him though. But like you were saying, you were saying the other day, Jaylen Brown was cooking him in our last episode, weren't you? Jaylen Brown's not even a point guard.
I was saying I think he was getting the best of him more, but Draymond was still doing some work. You're never gonna stop these players. Draymond can guard 1 through 5. Bam can guard 1 through 5.
That's my exact point.
Robert Williams has a better chance guarding a point guard or shooting guard than Rudy Gobert does.
You would think so. Part of it with Robert Williams is he's not always going to be available, and Rudy Gobert is constantly available.
Did you just see what Robert Williams did coming off surgery after that was
amazing. I thought it was crazy.
You see the effort he was putting in?
I think with Rob, he's a pogo stick. He's far less disciplined than Rudy, but he's so athletic, and he's got really good touch offensively, and he's also $1 million cheaper. More than $1 million. Exaggerate. Metaphor.
Yes. I would take Robert Williams over Rudy Gobert.
Is that because of his contract or contract excluded?
No, I don't care about the.
Oh my, no. And it's because of the contract, I agree, and that's fine, because I think Rudy Gobert is slightly overpaid, and Robert Williams is a good value contract. But if they're both making $14 million a year, I think you're wilding. It's because you think Robert Williams can stretch out his games in mid-range and consistently not.
No.
Whoa. Oh, okay, you're going too far, because Robert Williams is not the same level of a rebounder or a rim protector or a shot blocker and that inside deterrent that Rudy is. Rudy, like I said, what his specialty is the length, anticipation, and he's called, what's his nickname? It's something like about him being angry. He plays with one of the highest motors with Rudy Gobert. He's nonstop. He's in tremendous shape. With Time Lord, bro, he is constantly hurt. And that is step number one that you have to talk about. I hate when people take it out of context that when he's healthy, no. We live in reality. If a player is only going to give me 55 games, give me the guy that give me 75. I want that reliability because that's how I build structure. With Robert Williams, he's playing next to Al Horford as one of the best defensive bigs in the game. You're playing next to Derek White, one of the best defensive guards, a borderline all-defensive player. Jason Tatum, all-defensive player if he didn't have a 26-point per game responsibility. And Jaylen Brown, one of the best on-ball defenders in the game. Marcus Smart, a defensive player of the year.
We're talking strictly their defensive skills. We're not talking.
That's the point, man. What if you put Robert Williams into Utah, one of the worst perimeter defensive teams in the game, and then Rudy Gobert into Boston, where he's surrounded by all of these elite defensive perimeter players that can get stops?
I just saw Robert Williams deep in a playoff run all the way to the finals, play defense consistently great. Guarding guards.
Consistently great is a little bit of a high bar because they're the first two games of that Golden State series. Steph on switches, and even Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was putting him in a spin cycle, bro. They were putting Wiggins into ball screen actions, and he couldn't guard Wiggins. Toward the end of that series, he did a much better job, and Al Horford became the point of attack for the Warriors offense. And my biggest gripe here is that's against Steph Curry, bro. There's only one Steph Curry in the game. there's only one Luka Doncic. And even Luka, he hasn't had the speed to blow by Rudy. Rudy can guard Luka on a switch. As those shifty, smaller guards, like Reggie Jackson is a perfect example. When he'd be blowing by guys, and he can, or Jalen Brunson, they can kind of just swiftly, they have good footwork, good change of pace. They can find some crafty finishes maybe around him. But like a Luka Doncic, he beats guys to the side and his size and his slow style, and that overwhelms players. With Rudy Gobert, he's not getting overwhelmed by that. And you're talking about Steph Curry, bro, you only play one Steph in the game, and if Rudy Gobert can't guard him in non or traditional pick and roll, that's the only player. I'll take the guy taking me 25 more games, is the best rebounder in the game, the best rim protector, one of the best rim runners, and offensively, you put him with not Donovan Mitchell, but you put him with Luka, Josh Giddey, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, guys that can actually hit him when he's open on lobs. He's averaging 20 points a game, and he's consistently making those finishes. He has worse touch than Rob, but he's efficient around the rim.
So then I got to ask you guys. So clearly, you guys both don't share the same opinion. Clearly, looking at the trade now. First off, I love the deal. I think the Timberwolves didn't give up. While they gave up a lot in picks, they still kept their nucleus together, which I love. So looking at the Timberwolves now, plugging in Gobert, where do you see them in the West?
Oh, that's a good question. Where it starts is with, are you talking about the regular season or the power rankings of the West? Because those are two different beasts.
All the way through.
Okay, because
where do you see them standing come the end of the season?
Memphis and Denver, with Jaren Jackson Jr. undergoing foot surgery, is out 4 to 6 months. If he's missing the start of the season, Memphis has a long-term game. They're not thinking about October, November, or December, because the league's probably going to have a what do you call it? Not a hiatus. Thanks to Kyrie, Ben Simmons, and Zion, a what do you call it? 2011 lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Lockout.
Yeah. Lockout. Thank you, Brent. So in December, maybe Jaren Jackson will be ready by then. The league, in theory, if there is a lockout, he could be ready for the start of the season. But I think for Memphis, they're going to take.
Where's this lockout coming from?
Well, I think NBA owners, they're sick and tired of guys like Kyrie, Ben Simmons, they're paying max money to, and those guys want extensions for max money, and they're not actually playing a certain amount of games. And the collective bargaining agreement that in terms of games played and available, it's all guaranteed money usually. For Kyrie missing games in Brooklyn because he's not vaccinated, his home game money wasn't guaranteed.
Contract up. Are they renegotiating now, or is it?
I think Zach Lowe and a few other people are talking about on podcasts. It seems like it's very possible that will happen within the next few years, and it most likely would happen
next 2 years. I thought you were talking.
But it most likely would be this summer. Zion Williamson, we'll talk about his extension later on, but I think for NBA owners, they're sick and tired of paying all this money for guys that aren't playing basketball games.
Can you blame them?
No.